Most of you are probably aware of internet gaming. Whether they stream themselves live in real time or put out pre-recorded videos, watching other people play games is a popular trend nowadays, especially for people who like to play video games themselves. However, when the comments from the audience are enabled to be posted, things can become more interactive between the video hosts and the viewers. Aside from connecting with people on a parasocial and fleeting level, posting comments is often encouraged because it helps the video host to get noticed on the website, potentially garnering an even bigger following, which will ultimately support them more financially. Yes, you heard me right, Woodland Hermit. Anyone can earn money by playing games in this day and age. Some have become filthy rich because of it. You have to be really old or live under a rock to not know this. No offense, of course. There are many things I don't know about either. And of course, it is preferred that comments from the audience are positive or, at the very least, not containing any negativity, because showing off games is supposed to be for fun, so it is understandable that criticism should be kept at the minimum, and that they shouldn't be posted at all if they are completely uncalled for. But sometimes, it is completely uncalled for to offer help and advice. Most people would call this backseat gaming, and it is often seen as something negative, even though you may think otherwise. You know how sometimes school teachers will not lay out the answer to an issue right away, in order for you to think a little for yourself, which is often beneficial to your brain's training and development? Well, it isn't all that different when it comes to watching gaming hosts trying to beat a game on their own. Most of the time, it is beneficial to the audience because it feels more rewarding to see someone overcome an obstacle through their own efforts, and that help should be sought only when necessary. But when it comes to video games, it is not unusual for there to be elements and mechanics which the game itself doesn't teach you through a typical tutorial. These are often called hidden mechanics, and depending on their implementation, they can either be something rewarding to discover on your own, or they can feel unfair in the sense that a method which worked previously suddenly does not, and without any clear indications as to why. An example of the frustrating part to this is parrying in Dark Souls 3. Parrying in this series of games is the action of pushing a button at exactly the right time, causing your character to deflect an incoming attack and leave the enemy wide open for a powerful attack. Even big enemies such as this one can get their attacks parried, but other enemies of the same size, shape and form cannot be parried at all. And in the case of Dark Souls 3, there is no indication or clue to an attack being immune to parry. Trying to parry such attacks yields the same results as when you mistime a parry against attacks which can be parried. In both cases, you lose health and stamina at the same time. Nothing more, nothing less. So the only way you will know that an attack cannot be parried is by reading up on it on the internet, or waste who knows what amount of time before concluding that trying to parry is a completely wasted effort, despite it working on similar enemies and similar attack types before. Compare that to games like Pokemon, where immunities and resistances are also part of the main battle mechanics. It may not be clear just by looking at the Pokemon, but the game will let you know if an attack is effective or not. You are provided concrete information about the basic mechanics as you try out different attacks, which is the way it should be. So, in the case of Dark Souls 3 and the inconsistent and unintuitive parry mechanic, will it then not be appropriate for experienced players to just let the video hosts know about such things? It most definitely should be. And in my experience, the hosts themselves will most likely appreciate such pieces of information, even though they technically never asked for it. But other people in the audience might actually still take that personally and accuse us for being patronizing towards the host, ultimately blaming us for backseating and ruining their own experience of watching. So, as I just mentioned a few seconds ago, some video hosts actually appreciate getting help even when they didn't ask for it, yet some in the audience feel the need to get upset on their behalf for some reason. Has any one of you been timed out or banned from a live chat for posting advice, which isn't really breaking any official backseat rules established by the hosts themselves? The interesting part is that it is often never clear whether it is okay to offer advice or not, as the host may look towards the chat for help without making an official statement about requesting help, so to say. And if the host finds that people have been posting advice, they will then thank them for the help, Again, before even asking first. However, some may still get timed out or banned from the chat by the chat moderators for doing the same thing as the others, often with the moderators responding to your complaint with just because others are breaking the no backseating rule, that doesn't give you the right to do it too, completely dismissing the fact that the host clearly accepted previous advice on their own accord. There is a difference between advice and spoilers, just so you know. I could say the same thing to the moderators, to be perfectly honest. I'm not kidding. I have seen the same moderators break the so-called no backseating rule. Again, this is a problem of inconsistency about what is okay or not when it comes to offering advice, and I also find it a problem when chat moderators think they are speaking on the host's behalf, despite them clearly being grateful about the advice in the end. Another interesting part is that the hosts aren't really under any obligation to pay attention to the chat, you know, aside from super chats, but anyway. But somebody should try to keep things civil and moderate, which is why moderators could help. Could. The point is, if they don't want to be spoiled whatsoever, then they really should think twice before streaming themselves playing a game for the first time, with a live chat right in front of them. We'll get back to this point in just a few moments. To expand upon my argument about hidden elements and mechanics within a game. As professional gamers, it is probably not a good idea to linger on in the same game for too long. You have to move on to the next game at some point. So why not experience as much as possible of what a game has to offer during your first time playing? Keep in mind that I am mostly referring to people decided to share their first time experience with a game online. As I've mentioned, and I'll run this point into the ground as many times as I think is necessary, but most hosts are actually grateful for their audience telling them how to essentially experience the whole game to its fullest potential, and not just merely focusing on the main quest. But once again, other people think you are being patronizing by sharing that sort of information. Information which they are free to make use of or not, might I add. Oftentimes, their argument about the matter is that the hosts will play the game once more after beating it by themselves. Perhaps even without showing it off on the internet. I mean, what even is the point in watching then? Knowing that a lot of potential is being ignored for the mere fact that people are projecting their own insecurities onto the hosts and the chat, and it just so happens that they may even have the power to shut down our voices? You know, by either removing our comments, timing us out, or even outright ban us. Yes, I know I am making a wild assumption there, but I am not really sure what other reason it could be. I honestly think these people are simply projecting their own insecurities about being told what to do by others. Added with the fact that some hosts actually appreciate the help offered, regardless of what official rules are established, then I also think they are the ones backseating and not us, which is really ironic, all things considered. Okay. After giving it some thought, I think there is another reason why these moderators are accusing us of backseating. It is very possible that they themselves have no knowledge about the game either, so they won't really be able to differentiate useful advice from boring backseating. That said, I really am not kidding when I say I have seen moderators who are experienced with the game currently showcased also backseat whenever they felt like it. These moderators get upset at people for telling people how to play a game. Yet they indirectly tell the stream hosts how to play a game. Or rather, how to not play a game, as I sometimes call it. Again, a lot of potential is being wasted for this flawed idea of an authentic experience, which is most likely not even the stream host's intention. Anyway, what is the point of streaming yourself playing a game for the first time, if you want to keep your experience authentic? Why not just disable the chat altogether then? At least then there is no chance people will get punished unfairly by biased and sometimes hypocritical moderators, and the flawed and unspecific rule of no backseating. So to wrap things up for now, I want it to be known that I think video hosts could be more specific about what counts as backseating for their own videos. I don't think it's enough to simply write that they will ask for help only if necessary. They should give concrete examples of what counts as backseating, and what information and advice is okay to share. And as I just elaborated on, basic mechanics not providing you with all the necessary information, no matter how much you experiment on your own, should be one of the things which are okay to share. Perhaps they should also be specified by the viewers when they post their advice. Like, we could mention that there is no way to know unless you look it up online, or that such pieces of information can be found by extensive exploration, yet at the same time have no real reason to be hidden away by the game for so long. I know it's not easy to pick out the perfect chat moderators for a job, but communication is key. Everyone makes mistakes, even the streaming hosts and the moderators. If they also truly want to keep things authentic, then that should be made clear too. You know, I think they could just disable the chat altogether then. Regardless, I don't think I will want to tune into such a stream, just saying. It's just so boring. If you share my opinion on this matter, then don't be afraid to evaluate what sort of hints and tricks are okay to share with other people playing a game. Test the waters, so to say. At worst, you will discover that you should probably avoid interacting with such people and their community. Or you may even accept valid criticism yourself and learn that the information you shared probably should have been kept to yourself. After all, there is a difference between switching on the lights in a dark room and just straight up hand out a map with the directions drawn on it. Thanks for watching and listening, and if you really want to, then keep on commenting. But don't post spoilers. People who deliberately spoil story elements and tests within a game are scum. Censorship sucks, but there are instances where it is needed, and that's one of them. So, always think twice before you play the freedom of speech card.